idea? No, I haven't. I know I always have a notebook. I know I always have a notebook with me somewhere. I got a pen right here. But I always have a notebook. Sometimes I use a telephone for a notebook. And if you look at my telephone, you'll see so many different notes. And they go back so far. Because it's powerful when God speaks to you right now. So if we learn to cradle ideas, cradle ideas like you hold on to a dollar. If we would just cradle ideas and lift ideas and thank God for ideas. Because one idea brings a bank of property in your life. One idea. And so, when the confirmation of God is going forth, Peter reads next time. I want to help you a little bit.
Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, Rabbi, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah.
Now Peter is just a guy, he is a mobile mouth. He don't know what to say, he does not know what's going on, but Peter just got to talk. That's just what God made him to be a voice, to be a leader. And God made him extrovert, not introverted. And so Peter don't make a move. He's going to do something, right or wrong. Peter's going to do it. When they came to get Jesus, Peter cut the man's ear off. Took out a sword and cut the man's ear off. Jesus said, no, show me what you do that. And Jesus put the ear back on. And so Peter has that tendency. There's only 2 people who walk on water. Jesus and Peter. He might drown, but he need to walk. And so that's just Peter. And Jesus said, who am I? It was Peter who answered right. But there's a whole lot of other times Peter answered wrong. Jesus said, I must die. And Peter said, you won't do it on my watch. Jesus said, get behind me, Satan. And that's Peter. Later in Peter's journey, when Jesus asked Peter, do you love my sheep and will you feed my sheep? Peter said, certainly I do. Jesus asked him again. Peter said, yes. But he asked him 3rd time. He said, I've been through this before. I don't even know no more. I don't know the answer to this before. And so we see Peter's humanity. This is someone who's great. This is someone who has a significant purpose in the church. And remember, the purpose for your life is not decided by you. God really doesn't consult with you. That's not how it works. He's already decided it for you, mapped it out for you, and He gives you the opportunity to choose that path. And in choosing that path, you have the choice to allow Him to daily reveal it to you more and more and more. Because they didn't know fully who Jesus was the first day they met Him. Over time, they understood Jesus a little bit more. And so when we see Peter just in his humanity, an ordinary person, an ordinary individual. And so there's no super saint. I tell people, I'm a man just like you, man. I'm a person who's striving to live for Christ in this body of humanity just like you. I have the same challenges, the same struggles, some of the same dreams, some of the same hopes. I've had some of the same failures. It's okay. You do not have to be a superstar. Just be who you are. Be where you are. Sometimes you're going to say something dumb like Peter. Sometimes you're going to misspeak. Sometimes what you say, your character after that might not match up with it. It's okay. It's called humanity. And you are human. And God chooses to dwell in the life of humans. So it's okay. It's okay. And so as God has that special purpose for you, and He calls you out to be Peter, James, and John, and He shows you a deeper revelation of who He is, and He takes you on a high mountain, He separates you from the pack, He anoints you and puts you in a holy place, and when you find yourself over there, and people tell you you're so special, you're so sweet, just remember, you're just like Peter. Don't believe the hype, don't believe the press goodness. When someone says something good about you, don't get too low. When they say something great about you, please don't get too high. Keep on.
Because he did not know what to say, for they were greatly afraid. And a cloud came and overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my son, this is my beloved son, hear him. Suddenly, when they had looked around, they saw no one anymore, but only Jesus and themselves.
All right. Now, the cloud, if you go to the Old Testament a little bit, the cloud represents the what? All right. The cloud represents the glory and presence of God. And so, when you had the children of Israel, what did they have guiding them? The cloud. The cloud was covering them, guiding them. Here they are in no man's land, trying to figure out the purpose that God has for them, where they're to go, the destiny, the direction, the end result. Well, how do you know, man? Just follow God. Follow God's presence in your life. Keep listening to the still small voice inside of you that tells you, keep on going. It's okay. Keep on running. And when he's silent, he's sanctioning what you're doing. It's okay. And so we see the presence of God on display. And in the midst of the presence of God, we remember that there was Jesus, there was the law, and there was the prophet. And so we see these three great pillars there. And then we see the presence of God in the midst of that. And then we see the law removed. And then we see the prophets removed. And all we see that is Jesus. And that represents many things. It represents, one, that Jesus is the totality, the fulfillment of the prophet and the law. He's the fulfillment of God's special revelation. He's the fulfillment of God's general revelation. He's the fulfillment of God's law. He's all that we need in display on the earth. And so we see Jesus there. And it says that Jesus is higher than Moses. There is no equality there. Jesus is the Word. Jesus is the law. Moses just told you about it. And then we have a prophet. And what was a prophet doing in those days? A prophet was someone who went to God for an answer. Well, a prophet really was someone who received an answer from God and he gave the answer to the people. The priest was someone who took the concerns and the questions to God. But God did not give the answer to the person who took the question. And so it was the job of the priest to take the question to God. And it was the job of the prophet to communicate God's answer. And God was separated like that. Well, Jesus is a priest and prophet. And so we see that this revelation of God on display, his glory, God's true glory, the source of his glory in our lives is Christ Jesus. And the singular revelation of him in your life. Why are you going to succeed? Because of Jesus. How you going to pay rent? Jesus. Whatever the question is, the answer is Jesus. And so it's that kind of moment, that kind of spirit. Keep reading.